Hi guys, it's Jason from Small Nation, and I am here today with Leslie Handshoe Suter from Handshoe Brand and Design. Leslie is one of my great friends, and just so excited to have you today, Leslie.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and so you're from your home studio in Greenville, Ohio, right now?
Sitting here in Greenville, Ohio. We're the Ohio arm of Handshoe Brand and Design. The other half is in Denver. So, yep, here we are working from home just like everybody else.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you. Over the years, you have been such a tremendous resource and asset. As I've needed help as we've started businesses, how to brand them. I mean, how to really tell the story of what makes that business special and unique. Not only from the language, but also the colors, the logo, the typography. To you, how did it start? How did you start your business, and why is branding so important?
How did we start our business? That's a long story. We are a family business. My sister and I were both trained as graphic designers. And I've been in this business for a long time, going on 30 years right now, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I guess you would
Unfortunately.
say. Right. But when that started, graphic design or communications design was a little bit different than what branding is right now. My sister followed in my footsteps. My daughter followed in our footsteps. So we all three work together right now to help people transition from graphic design, which is what you talked about, the colors and things like that, into brand development, which is finding all the multiple layers of a story that a company needs to project in order to create a certain kind of perception. And why that's so important right now is because perception everywhere is negative and in a really scary place. So making sure that for all of the companies, not just new companies that are starting right now, but existing companies, making sure that they are consistent with the messaging that they're delivering right now, and so that it's not all doom and gloom, so that
Mhm.
it shows a little bit of positivity when everybody is thinking darkness, and that's what I think is really important right now.
I think that's a great message. It's easy to get caught up in turning on the media and hearing negative story, negative statistics. I mean, even words like death. And, I think it can paralyze a lot of people that when there is a message of inspiration or hope or courage, it allows someone to take over the conversation in a different way. When you think of the businesses that are out there that maybe really haven't spent a lot of time identifying who they are, what is a good place to start to maybe refocus and identify and develop your brand?
Where's a good place to start? Our company digs a lot deeper than most companies do. What we think is that the essence of a brand is not just about the customer and what they want, but it's also about the business owner and what their ultimate vision is and what their purpose in the world is. So if you're talking about digging for where to start to develop a brand message, that's a deep journey. It's a journey inside a very personal journey inside of a business owner's mission and how they affect the world. Um, Go ahead.
Well, I could just speak for work that you've done and helped us at Small Nation. What has really helped me is that for the longest time, I had a lot of different business activities, but I struggled with a way to describe what we really do. In terms of, yes, we renovate historic buildings, we lease storage units, we help folks with billboards and advertising and marketing. But I think one thing that you really helped me kind of working through that process was that the kind of customers and towns and communities and the ways that we're working with them, there was this umbrella of being Small Nation. And what we've done, or what our purpose and mission has been, is to invest in those places, spaces, and dreams for towns and entrepreneurs. And we use Bellefontaine kind of as that case study for where visitors, leaders, investors can come and like see in a physical living learning lab about how to revitalize a town. And I want to tell you that what you really helped me at working through that process is having some messaging. You even see behind me having those colors, those visuals that communicate how important that passion is behind our work.
Right. Well, that's what we hinge Small Nations brand essence on, is your passion, the passion of that little small group that's done such big things. Because that is the way that every small business in every small town is working. They're small businesses all across the country are the spirit and the passion that they have are what run this entire nation. That's what we hinge what you do. It's not just about the buildings. It's not just about the renovations. It's about making sure that small towns not just survive, especially in an economy that's similar to this, but thrive and have power and have voices that are heard. And you didn't realize that that's what you did at that time, I don't think. But it is, right? It absolutely has been. And I don't know if that's because you have grown into that or if it's something that you had already done and really we hadn't put all the pieces together. But the Small Nation brand name and the essence of the Small Nation brand came from a process of discovery and self-discovery. And that's what we're best at, I guess. We call it filtering, taking all of that information and filtering it down to the nugget, that one little nugget that has an impact that people resonate with.
Well, I think you mentioned how important it is that we find that voice and that we also help others that are a part of this movement find that voice. And, I think you should be very proud. And I know I'm developing some pride right now too amongst how our voice is also being heard. In the last 2 weeks, we have been on CNBC now 3 times with segments and some of them live. We've also, been featured in the Wall Street Journal numerous times with quotes and statistics and data that's helping shape some of these important policy decisions. And I think it is something that we're realizing that to really make a difference for towns that are struggling and that are hurting, there is a voice that is not being heard. And so I just want to thank you and acknowledge that. And I do think I wouldn't be where we were at if we hadn't been really conscious about working on our brand and our messaging. And let's talk about this now. The psychic picture of where I was and most small businesses were 4 weeks ago, the dreams, the plans, the strategies that we had, they have completely been changed. And so, I was talking with Dr. Carrie Bird today. She's a psychologist, and we're talking about through this psychic picture of how we had this very clear psychic picture and all these goals and dreams, and we've had to get through this grieving process of that changing. But the hope coming out of it, who we are and the brand values that we have are most likely not going to change. But the ways that we can execute to help solving significant world problems, those strategies probably will change. What do you think about that?
What do I think about that? Almost every single business that we've been talking to, and we've had a lot of people calling us in panic mode, are going through exactly what you just described, which is, 4 weeks ago, I had a strategy to deliver to go this direction, and now everything has gone out the window immediately. So what do we do to change things? How do we change our message, or do we not change our message? Every message has to change because the world has fundamentally changed, and brand messages have to change in response to that in some way. Not every business is like Small Nation that is fighting for small businesses. And right now, small businesses are in need. So your brand message is very consistent. A lot of the small businesses that are out there who may have had a brand message that they delivered a product or a service, which is completely different, absolutely have to change because services are changing because the consumer, their needs are changing. So what we've been talking to people about is make sure that your strategy, your communication strategy is authentic. Make sure that you're talking about your business in terms of the ownership and the people within it right now, and not just about the product that you're selling, because people's need for a product may be changing dramatically. It's unfortunate, but it's true. But there are still buyers out there. So your goal as a business right now with your message should be to identify who those buyers are, make sure that you're still offering what they need, and showing that you're delivering it in a very personal way. And you can deliver product in a personal way, or widgets really in the same way that you can deliver a service in a very personal way. Because the temperature of the world is changing, then messaging has to change in kind.
Great advice. And then many of the businesses we work with are brick and mortars. They operate hair salons and boutiques and specialty stores. And those places really are the fabric of what make our towns so unique and distinctive. What message or what strategies or ideas would you have for them to be able to innovate and compete in this new economy and reality?
What we're telling everybody is that if you have not made a shift to online or a shift to social media, this is the time to do it. Absolutely. Number one, make that a key component of your strategy, because unfortunately, a lot of small businesses, they may have had a social media channel, they may have had a quick website that they put up, but it wasn't very strategic. And their social media may have had a channel, but they haven't really worked to communicate back and forth with people so that they grow followers. So if they haven't done that, we're saying, please do it right away. Your phone is your friend. Absolutely. And we're having people look at how they can potentially pivot. We've told a lot of people there are no rules right now. Right, sit down and as part of your strategy, brainstorm in ways that you've never brainstormed before about how do you expand your services? How can you expand the product line? How do you streamline your product line? How can you look at using some of the pieces and parts that you put things together with in a different way? There are no rules right now, and whatever you do, let's make sure it's consistent with the brand and what you believe in. And number three is, how do you use your existing media or marketing channels in a different way? For something like billboards, which you know a lot about, a lot of people were using billboards to drive people to their front door. And right now they can't have traffic on their front door. Visibility is crucial, especially in small markets. So continuing to use something like billboards, but putting a very powerful message that drives them to an online sales page is a very smart move. You increase your visibility more than you might just by using your social media channels, because you're actually getting people who are out moving around. And there are people who are still out driving around right now, but drive them to a sales page or a funnel of some way so that you can actually engage with people. Drive them to your social media so you continue talking to them. But look at multiple channels, marketing channels right now. That's what we're telling people.
That's great advice. I've been having a lot of conversations, asking other businesses, so like, what are you doing during this time? And I think the thing that I'm most excited about, the level of innovation that's been happening. I mean,
Absolutely.
It's forced us, many of us have had these ideas on our to-do list or future to-do list, but with this extra time where we've had to put some of our business activities or dreams on pause, it's expedited some of this innovation that we haven't got to. Have you seen that in your own business?
And our own business? Absolutely. Well, we're getting there. Let's put it this way. We've had a lot of time or ideas that have popped up, but we've been serving our clients right now to help them kind of get through the last couple of weeks. We do have some big plans. I think that we're going to be offering a lot more social media services. That's what people are requesting right now, helping them develop strategies and learn how to communicate effectively on social media. The small business owners, especially, because they work in their business as well as working on their business, think that they don't have time to utilize social media throughout the day. And we're trying to give them best practices, tips and tricks on how they can communicate throughout the workday in a quick and easy way by using their telephone, or by helping them place their first social media ads so that they can start growing their followers. Very small, inexpensive, affordable ways to make an impact.
Can you think about, I know a lot of your career has been focused on working and help innovate small businesses in towns and communities. I've got right here behind me the logo that we work with your team on for developing for Build, Co-work, and Space. But what do you think, when you think about the new reality of what a small town will look like and the needs that will exist? I know we spent a lot of time talking about how important places like Build, Cowork, and Space are going to be, even prior to all of this. You'd think that, when you read through some of the materials and the website and thing that we've been working to put together, this is probably perfectly suited for a lot of people that are struggling with working from home and all the distractions and things that exist with that. But
Right.
can you kind of paint a picture for some of maybe the hopeful opportunities that this transition may have for, for why towns like Greenville, from where you're at, and, I'm in Bellefontaine, why those places might even be more important than ever looking forward?
More important than ever. The power of small towns to affect the economy as a whole, number one, is crucial. Um, Downtown areas like downtown Bellefontaine and downtown Greenville, where I am right now, are even more important, because if the downtown area is not vibrant and interesting, if those small businesses, the mom and pop businesses and the restaurants are not there, then people don't want to live in certain places. Towns will die. When downtown is gone, they're the beating heart. So it is crucial that all of these small businesses, not just survive, but find ways to push through and to innovate and hopefully become stronger. And thank goodness that's what you are doing, and that's what we're trying to help people do as well.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the new reality is, we've been in our homes, we missed that human connection with events and with experiences and community. I do think that as some of these mandates are lifted, there's a lot of pent up demand where people are excited to get out and live and experience life again. Of course, we want to be safe and responsible about it, but I think part of the new reality, like you said, if we can take our brick and mortar stores and get them converted to selling things online or communicating with their clients, even just using Zoom right here and doing a product demonstration. I mean, we've had a lot of success. We've been creating these Facebook groups, and one in particular is called Making Small Successful. And it's a private Facebook group where mostly is composed of other small business owners. There's CPAs, there's attorneys. A lot of the folks are people that are doing amazing things in small towns. But as we've been experiencing this crisis and these problems, people have been sharing their best practices, providing free advice, like helping their fellow business person. And that has been really, really exciting for me to watch. The other thing is we created the Bellefontaine Local Shopping Club, and that is a private Facebook group. And while a lot of our boutiques, our specialty stores and shops are not able to open to the public, they're posting in that group and people are buying. They're buying because they're sitting at home. And if you remember, like I remember growing up and the days of QVC and Home Shopping Network, and there was a reason why people tuned in, is not only did they like learning and seeing about the products, but they liked the personalities that were behind the products and
Sure.
describing how they work. And so that's happening with our local businesses. So there's all this innovation that is going to come out of this. I think what we're excited about is as we're giving that permission to open back up. And let me ask you this, because a lot of the messaging that we hear from the media is fear about, death and dying and exposing and hurting in someone else. And I think we're getting more science and more statistics around understanding this virus, that we as adults can make conscious decisions about what risk we're comfortable with, because every day we are faced with risk. The challenges for brands is what ways do we communicate and how do we help people understand and know that we understand those risks, but we are working to solve the problem and also help people feel as safe as possible doing business with us.
The safety issue is going to be really important moving forward, especially, retail businesses as well as restaurants. Restaurants are an obvious one, right? If somebody's consuming your food, you want to make sure that they're doing everything they can to in terms of sanitation and wearing gloves and your face masks and all that kind of stuff. But retail business is the same way, and service business is the same way. If you're going into a place to talk to somebody about brand development or talking to your accountant, you want to make sure that the person who sat down there before you didn't have a whole lot of germs, right? So being very visible via social media channels, especially, but visible, taking visible pictures about serving people and making sure that it's evident. You can say a million times, here's what we tell people, a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. You can say it a million times and people won't absorb it unless you have an image beside it. It's very, very powerful. So if there are restaurants that when things are opening up, even if they're serving right now, curbside service on their social media channels, getting photographs of making sure that they have the gloves on at any given time, making sure that they're keeping proper distance when they're doing their curbside pickup. We have retail stores here in Greenville who are doing online shopping, which is very, very well attended. People are buying, just like you said. But they're doing either curbside pickup or delivery. They're doing whatever it takes, and they're being very safe and making sure that they're taking photos of themselves so that people feel comfortable. They trust that when they come, they're not going to be infected.
I love that. And Easter is coming up this
Right.
weekend, and I've been super impressed with some of the ideas that some of our retail stores are doing. One is doing customized Easter baskets for kids. Like, they take time to learn about your child, what they like. They'll
Right.
personalize the basket. They'll deliver it. And another retail store is actually egging your home. So they will take local chocolates and local package all the eggs, and they've been communicating with their customers about the sanitary processes they're doing that. But if you've got even a grandparent or someone that kids can't go to, they can egg the yard for you. Wake up the next day, you've
That's
got
brilliant.
photos that you can. I mean, that's the kind of innovation that I think it's going to be required going forward. Why
I
we're in
agree.
this kind of new normal.
Yeah, I agree. The safety precautions, because like you just said, because the media is being very scary right now, and maybe for good reason, but the safety precautions are going to last a long time. After the doors open again, making people feel safe is going to be crucial. And making sure that not only is it part of your messaging, but it's part of the images that you show every day, I think is going to be really important.
Love that. Well, if I can ask you one question, and we'll kind of close on this. When you think about something that you're excited about, and I think for a lot of us, it's been hard to get, you've been so much stuck in the crisis that it's hard to have that time to dream again. But if there's anything getting through this crisis that you're really excited about doing or working on or focusing on the other side, is there something that you've been thinking about or dreaming about that's maybe positive, through all of this?
Well, what I'm most excited about, Jason, I think, is seeing people from businesses, not in the general public, from all different kinds of businesses and industries working together, doing anything that they possibly can to help each other. And I think that that's something that's going to continue. I think there's going to be a shift in the basic way, the way business functions. We're seeing a lot of locally, like here in Greenville, the community members showing big love for their downtown businesses, and all of the downtown businesses working together in any way they can to continue to have visibility. They're working together to make sure that if one person can't afford to, say, pay for some advertising, they're ganging up together. They're doing guerrilla marketing. Anything to stay in front of people, which I think is really important. And that kind of warms my heart. That's what makes me really excited, is because people aren't scared anymore. Mm-hmm. And they're communicating in a big way. And communication is the fundamental part of what we do. So that's what really excites me.
Well, thank you for communicating with me today. Appreciate just your advice and always being such an excellent resource to help small businesses. And hope this is many more of these sessions that we can do to share some great advice and best practices.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason.
Yep, you got it.